We had a listener question from Abby and John in Chamblee, and they say, will the market remain strong for the next few months? We're looking to sell before school starts. And I want to answer Abby and John's question by giving a review of what's happened with physical showings out there in the market. If we consider January of this year and January of 2019, let's just call them zero. We'll call that the zero rate. Showings in March of 2019 were up, let's just call it 35% compared to January the 1st of the same year. Showings in 2020 were up, let's just call it 32% versus January the 1st of this year. By April the 7th, showings this year had dropped 44% over January of this year. Showings last year were up 40% on April the 7th compared to where they were at January of this year. So there was a huge drop in showings starting on March the 12th or 13th and running all the way through April the 7th or 8th. But ever since April the 7th or 8th in Metro Atlanta, showings have been improving, and you're not going to believe this, Atlanta, but ever since let's just call it May the 15th, showings in 2020 have been every bit as strong as showings in 2019. So if you are like Abby and John and you are worried, you are nervous that you're not going to be able to get enough showing traffic in order to sell your home, I think you can be confident that there is enough buyer demand out there because it's all proven in the showing time data. Now, what does the number of showings mean? So if you're out there listening, you might think, well, what does the number of showings have to do with strength in the market? I think the number of showings, for those of you who are nervous that we don't have enough showing activity out there, the number of showings is a good indication of the level of buyer interest, because normally, and especially during a time when we have COVID-19 scare, you don't have buyers out there running around just willy-nilly looking at homes. So most of the buyers who are out there looking are serious, which means if you have more buyers out there seeing properties, viewing properties, the odds are you probably are going to have more contracts that follow. And let's just talk about the number of showings required. If you had a property that was listed somewhere in the under $350,000 price range, is priced correctly, it's in really good showing condition, the odds are you'll probably only have to have 6 to 8 showings. So if we have every bit as many showings in the market right now this year as we had last year, then the odds are all those properties that are priced in that mid-range that are really looking good, you won't have to be inconvenienced very long as a seller, because you'll probably only have to have 6 to 8 showings. Now, let's take a look at the listings that are over, say, $450,000 in the Metro Atlanta market. In a lot of cases, those listings will have to have somewhere around 12 to 14 showings before you find the ideal buyer. And in that case, your goal is to get the largest number of showings you can as quickly as you possibly can.